Let's talk a little bit about budget queries. This is a tool available in Banner for you to look up the real-time status of your budget or budgets if you have multiple budgets. You can think about budget queries as a similar tool to like online banking. If you have a checking and savings account at a local bank and you've got access to online banking, you can look things up and see what's going on. So how does budget queries work in Banner? Well, in order to access budget queries, you've got to go to self-service Banner. And there are a couple of different ways to do that. Of course, you can navigate to the Bishop State homepage and look up self-service that way. That's bishop.edu, and hit enter, go to the faculty and staff page, scroll down to Banner self-service. Click on that link and that'll take you in to self-service. If you're already logged in, you'll get this page. If you are not logged into self-service, then you'll get the login page. The other way to get to Banner self-service is to create a bookmark, and that'll give you one-click access. Put your username and password in and sign into the finance page. In order to get to the budget queries, finance queries, you want to go to this third link under the finance tab, and you will be taken to the Banner 9 main self-service page. And here's my finance query. When you go into my finance query, if you don't have a favorite query, you'll get a page that looks like this. The first time you go in, it'll look like this. And in order to conduct a new query, you will hit this blue button. However, I do want to point out that you can save queries, and if you have certain queries saved, then you can go straight to that, and I'll demonstrate that in a minute. But for now, we're going to go to a new query, and when you go into new query for the first time, none of the boxes will have any information in them, except that on the top you can do a budget quick query. There are different types of queries available here. We're just going to do a quick query in this video. The chart of accounts will always be 1, that will default in. And then you need to know your fund and your organization. So the fund and the organization are the F and the O of this acronym, FOAP, F-O-A-P. You'll hear this acronym a lot when you're talking about Banner Finance. This is the accounting string that controls and keeps money where it's supposed to be and provides unique access for everyone to their budgets. You need to know your FOAP, and you can get that information from your immediate supervisor, who is probably a department director, or if you work for a dean, you can also go to your dean. Your deans and your directors will provide the FOAP information to you if you have questions about that. And for quick queries, for budget queries, we only need to know the fund and the org. So what does that look like? Well, for this particular query, I'm going to go ahead and use some Title III accounts. I'm going to use the restricted fund Title IIIB, and let's go with curriculum. Let's go with the course and curriculum account. Okay, so we're querying this restricted fund and this account to see, or this organization to see how much money is in there. And when I hit submit, I get nothing. And so this message means there's no money in this restricted fund allocated to this organization. But what about the SAFRA account? Well, let me do another query, and instead of using Title IIIB, let's try Title III SAFRA. It's a different fund, different restricted fund, same organization or same budget, but it's from a different allocation. And there we have money. So when you look at the budget query, quick query page, you'll see 4 columns. And the first column is adjusted budget. Adjusted budget is like your beginning of year balance, because we started on July 1st this year with Banner. That's a July 1st balance. And then you see the year-to-date expenses. So if a check has been paid to a vendor or vendors, that is going to show as an expense. Then you have the commitments column, which captures purchase orders. Those are encumbrances. So that's money that's been committed, but it hasn't been paid yet. And then at the end, you have your available balance, which is just your budget minus your expenses minus your commitments, and that equals your final available balance. So there is a quick query for the Course and Curriculum Development Organization 401050. Now, if I wanted to save that so that I don't ever have to look it up again, I can hit this Save button right here, and I can give it a name. SAFRA CC is what I'm going to name this. And I could even set it as a favorite, but for now I'm just going to hit Save. and it says it's saved successfully. So let me go back to the main finance query page, and now I'm going to go into my saved queries. Okay, so in my saved queries, you can see I've got all kinds of different queries that I've saved, including this one that I just created, SAFR CC. So rather than having to go in and select it, I can just use a quick query and a saved query and go straight into that in the future. That is your basic setup for querying your budget. Now you can see here when we talked earlier about the FOAP, F-O-A-N-P, the A information is going to be available for you to review how much money is in each account in this fund-org combination. And you can review that by looking at the account line item on the right-hand side of this quick query. So the 6 accounts are salaried accounts, so you're going to see that information populating for your budgets. And then the 7s are your expense accounts. And so the 7 accounts would be those accounts that you use when you're making requisitions. Well, that's all I want to show you today about budget quick queries. There are more options that you can play around with, but this tab will help you begin to explore your budget and help you answer questions about how much money exists in each account.